Hello, everybody, and welcome again to the Bite Size Podcast and Mentoring with Geraldine. And I'm very lucky to have Christine from the Herbal Extract Company in Sydney to talk to us today about ivy leaf. And I've had quite a bit of ivy leaf in my life just recently because I've just finished marking exams for the Herbal Materia Medica, and they had ivy leaf in it. So Hedria helix is rather a popular one, as it turns out. And I have to admit, I don't have it on my shelf, and I should completely have it on my shelf. I've got 250 or so herbs on my shelf, and this is one that is missing. So please tell me all about it, Christine.
Yes, well, I'm glad you said it was from marking exams that it's been in your life, because otherwise it might mean you had bronchitis. So it's like, it's not really a great time to have bronchitis, is it?
No.
But it is a fantastic herb for the respiratory tract.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it's primarily being used. Productive cough, common cold, asthma,
Yep.
and acute and chronic bronchitis. So traditional healers tended to have a bit broader use, as they tended to do, rather than contemporary herbalists, and they use it as an anthelmintic and for fever. They seem to use everything for fever. Back in the day, it always seems to be fever was quite common. But for us in modern times, it really is specifically used for respiratory, like lung function, improving lung function and symptoms of coughing and expectoration, because it has a spasmolytic effect as well, like sort of thins the mucus and helps to get it out, as well as expectoration. Yeah, and also dealing with the microbial infection as well, if there's any of that. So there's clinical data for that, especially with children. It's great when you find these herbs that are great for children. We have clinical trials on pediatric dosing, and so
here's
a
me.
wonderful herb you need on your shelf. But Lindsay, who owns our company, he always tries to say you don't need many herbs.
Yeah.
He thinks it's better to have a small dispensary and use, get to know really well. However, we have so many herbs available to us these days, and you probably have your favourites anyway.
Oh, everyone has their favourites, don't they? And considering I do a lot of pediatrics, and of course I have a pediatric training course, I really should be delving deeper into the old ivy, because as we've talked about with our last few herbs that we've discussed, it is in everybody's garden. Ivy just grows, doesn't it? And it is, it's quite invasive, especially around the fence lines, and creeps everywhere. And those ones that are that invasive, again, just like we talked about with the nettle, it had its little spikes, and it's going to help because it's got all that stuff going on with it. It's kind of the same with ivy. Here it is absolutely everywhere, telling you, hey, use me. Use me for the purpose. Use me because I'm here. So, of course, it's perfectly indicated for children, because we're children. They're here. They're everywhere. They're running around just like your ivy is. So it really is a perfect pediatric herb, and I should be using it. And I feel very remiss that I am not using it. And I've got to say, I did learn about it long, long ago. And I do feel that I've had some in my in my cupboards at times, but I definitely haven't had any in there in the last couple of years, I've got to be honest. So I need to get back into it. Because kids get all those coughs and colds and
Exactly.
fevers
They
and
tend to be the ones that are coming in. They get them in the early years when their immune system's building up. There's a lot of asthma around.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're seeing these days. So it is fantastic for that. And the studies, I've got in my highlight, I wrote about a study on cough and bronchitis in the pediatric treatment, but I have done a monograph on this as well. I'm just trying to see if there was a study for the asthma in children. The bronchitis, bronchial asthma. There was a study done from 2003, next efficacy of dry extract of ivy leaves in children with bronchial asthma. It was a review of the trials.
Right.
And it was reported that ivy leaf will improve lung function in children with bronchial asthma.
There we go.
Yeah, so there's scientific evidence to back up the traditional use of ivy leaf. It's also good for arthritis, indicated in arthritis, and we don't really have much clinical evidence, but it has been shown to be anti-inflammatory in preclinical animal trials.
That seems very logical to be anti-inflammatory because, of course, asthma is inflammatory, and all the bronchial, if we've got all that bronchial stuff going on, then we're going to have all that inflammation in the bronchi in the lungs. So it's absolutely, if you've got somebody in who happens to have arthritis and they've got bronchitis, then of course it's going to help on all levels, isn't it? It's going to be something to, when you mix it with the other herbs, as we compound, it would cover so many areas for that client. So not only is it the perfect pediatric herb, it's actually perfect for the older person. And that's what I find with pediatric herbs, is the pediatric herbs work brilliantly for the young child, but they actually work brilliantly for the older individual as well, who needs lower doses and possibly more frequently, and having them in a different form. So, and of course, we've got lots of these lung issues in our older generation because they were, of course, exposed so much to cigarette smoking when they were younger. Whereas now our children aren't getting that exposure to cigarette smoke. They're just getting exposure to all of the contaminants in the environment as much as anything else. There's so many cars on the road and all of, off-gassing of our furniture and all of those, all of the things in our home as well. So, and in their environments. So it seems that this herb is perfect for so many things across the life. And I have...
For our times, I think.
It is the perfect herb for our time, the perfect herb for our time. So, and perfect for those ongoing lung issues, because there's no issue with taking it long term.
No, there's no serious adverse events recorded in the literature, and it's quite well documented. It's, we have, I think one of the studies we talked about another time with some of our tonic herbs like nettle and dandelion, they had like 37 patients in their clinical studies. Well, these ones we have in 400, in one study there's 460 in children. There's another adult one with almost 200 patients. It's been well studied.
Yes.
In humans. There's another one who 9,000 patients, including 5,000 children, roughly, treated with ivy leaf. 95% showed improvements in their symptoms in bronchitis. So
that's huge.
We have a lot of evidence here. It's like you said, it's quite unforgotten herb. I think in Europe it's really popular.
Yeah.
And this is where a lot of these studies are done. So
it's one that slips under the radar, considering it's out growing all along my fence line. And if I look out my window, which actually, it's right there, I can see ivy growing up my fence line. So
and, it was, the old pictures of everyone wearing them, the crown of ivy. The Romans used to wear the crown of ivy. It was really well regarded by the ancients. And they used to take it, actually, Culpeper said it was for hangover.
Oh.
They used to drink it and boil it and drink it as a cure for drinking too much.
Wow. I wonder, there would have been, because they drank more the porter and the stronger ales and wines. I guess drinking any fluid would probably help. That wasn't
intoxication.
Wasn't alcohol.
It has a lot of sort of pagan history as well, and traditionally it was used for respiratory disorders. So expectorant, antispasmodic, secrelytic, anti-inflammatory, and analgesic. As well.
Sounds amazing. I'm going to have to get myself a bottle. Oh, look, it's lovely green, isn't it? So
you can sort of see the pointed edges on, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see some of the, the end of the leaf. It's got that pointed, sort of serrated You can see that in the raw material. And then I have this one here. If I just I might try that way, you can see.
Yep, so it's quite a brown, golden brown liquid. It's got quite a shine to it, hasn't it? It's got quite a glow.
Yeah,
so
that's our product.
For those of you watching on the YouTube channel, it was it is actually a lovely bright color.
And you don't need much, like it's 5 to 10 ml weekly.
Oh, that's tiny.
Yeah, so you know, you can fit it in a formula.
Easily fit that in a formula.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic herb.
Winter time especially.
It's the 2020 herb, that one.
Exactly. Like I said, the times of respiratory disorder.
Yeah.
And it is one you probably do want to have on your shelf because
100%. So because I mean, to make a lovely syrup as well, what is the flavor? Could you have a bit of a sip there now that you've poured it into the water there? What's the flavor?
It's like a wine tasting. I'm trying to it's got a rich it's not unpleasant.
Excellent.
It's actually quite pleasant.
Excellent.
It's probably good for me. I mean, but yeah, it's not it's quite smooth.
Yep. Which helps in the pediatric dosing when we've got a nicer flavored herb, because putting that golden seal and things in children's herbal mixes does not create friends.
No, exactly. And again, you only need a small amount of it. So, I mean, children will only need, you know, half the adult dose. So at 5 ml a week at the lowest dose. Great.
So it's going to go a long way. It's an amazing herb.
And the flavors, it's got that sort of greeny flavor to it. Is the best way I can describe it. I'm not used to describing it.
But it's smooth flavor. I mean, when we're doing the pediatric, you can get your older person pretty much to take anything. And they're, you know, 65 onwards will do as they're told. We can get all those herbs into them, and we can get some of the horrible, tasting ones in there. But for the pediatrics, you know, for those kids, they'll just say no.
Yeah. And water, I think a lot of water is the secret to making it smooth. I'm sure if I took this straight, it's probably not going to be as smooth, but
very true.
It down, it's not, it doesn't have sort of it's not too bitter.
So that's amazing. What an incredible herb, and available from you guys. Well, I will be putting my order in, I have to say, and getting myself some Hydria Helix. So, or Hedera?
Yeah.
What is that? Hedera?
Yeah.
Helix?
Name.
Yeah. And the helix is probably from the shape of the leaf as much as anything else.
Yeah, so sometimes when I'm doing the research, the naming comes up, but not in this monograph. I didn't uncover any information about the actual naming of it.
Yeah. But that's all right. So that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing Ivy Leaf with us. I'm super impressed with it, and I'm definitely going to start adding it to my clinical stores and for the kids that I see. So that's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing with us again, Christine. It's been absolutely brilliant having you on the podcast and on the YouTube channel. And I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.
Yeah, see you then.